Parliamentary Updates.
The Office of the Parliament recently launched a Parliamentary Group for Women Legislators in the month of March. Invited guests included current and former women parliamentarians. Welcoming attendees was Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Honourable Bridget Anisette George.
My first exposure to the concept of a Parliamentary Women's Caucus or Group was during the annual Helsinki Parliamentary Seminar in 2016. As a newly installed Speaker of the House of Representatives, I led a small delegation that made a commitment to take steps towards the creation of a more gender-sensitive parliament, that is, a parliament premised on the principle of gender equality, where both male MPs and female MPs have an equal right to participate in its structures and processes.
Saying that Trinidad and Tobago has seen women leading in many of the highest offices of the land, Madam Speaker said there is still work to be done.
When we observe countries in which women play a significant role in their legislature, banding together across party lines to ensure that legislation and policies are to the benefit of women and girls in their respective countries, the conclusion is irresistible that sustainable development is being advanced in those countries. Therefore, the improved participation of women in the decision-making process will ultimately redound to the benefit of this nation.
She said that the support of men is needed.
We cannot wait for men to take us seriously. We have to have the faith and belief in ourselves and our own worth and capabilities as women. We need men to play a part. Yes, we acknowledge there's a role for men as allies and supporters, but we do not have to wait on them.
And to women present, Madam Speaker reiterated that they do have a purpose.
To our esteemed guests, you were carefully selected for a purpose. We need partners, individual and organizations, to provide the technical guidance and support to advise and assist us. We need the contributions of non-profit and civil society groups and other advocates of women's empowerment issues. You are on the ground and have access to data, experiences, information, and skills to which we may not be exposed. Arguably, your gender lenses are likely to be much sharper than ours. Quite frankly, this launch is the easy part. Our sustainability shall be our challenge.
Bringing opening remarks was Representative of the UN Women Caribbean, Tony Bradber.
You have the unique opportunity as leaders to be the stewards of this legacy, and the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago has never taken this lightly. Consistently being at the forefront of legislative reform, leading in the region, and demonstrating this through a commitment to overcoming inequality. Now, as the Speaker said, gender equality is highlighted not only as one of the Sustainable Development Goals, but critical to the achievement of all of the Sustainable Development Goals. I've heard a lot of conversations recently about these goals being Western, and human rights being a Western notion. This is not just about the West, even though we are also in the West. This is something that was created globally, and the achievement of these goals, the targets, the indicators that we are successful, they were set by us. Everybody in the world had an opportunity to contribute to this.
She informed guests that Trinidad and Tobago leads the Caribbean in the percentage of women in Parliament. Ms. Bradber gave an example of the gains to be had from groups like these.
But today's launch of the caucus is a real cause for celebration, because in Sweet Sweet TNT, women don't only parade abundantly, they lead effectively. There are sex and gender-based issues that require spotlight, whether it's a Spotlight Initiative, and I want to thank the Honorable Minister Ayanna Webster-Roy for all of her continued support on this. But there's always space, as the speaker said, for allyship. We don't need to ignore the men, they're here. I hope you're allies, I hope you're hearing what it is you're saying, and I hope you stand in line as we make space for women to do a lot of this work. And earlier this month, I was in Jamaica for another retreat of their Women's Caucus. And we had a senator, well, a former senator from the Democratic Party and a former senator from the Republican Party who was speaking about their experience as former co-chairs as the Congressional Caucus for Women's Issues. And they shared why it was important for them and what they had been able to achieve. And this issue on violence against women and girls was one that they highlighted, they worked on, because they knew it was an issue they could agree upon. They shared their successes by prioritizing these issues. What were the successes that they could achieve? How could they integrate violence against women and girls prevention into education? With the high levels of violence against everyone in our society, sometimes we get asked, why the focus on women and girls? Because when violence is normalized in what is supposed to be the safest space, in what is supposed to be the most loving space, we shouldn't be surprised when we see it manifest in our communities.
And bringing the feature address was President of the Republic, Her Excellency Christine Kangaloo.
I am especially happy this evening to be joined at the hip with the Parliament in advocating for the establishment of a parliamentary group for women legislators. As Kofi Annan, the former United Nations Secretary General, once famously said, there is no tool for development more effective than the empowerment of women. Coalitions that draw together women who are a part of the legislative process are therefore a critical component in the march towards gender equality. They are an indispensable element in our advancement and evolution as a nation.
She explained that traditionally men lead, therefore a male bias is inescapable.
Research carried out by the American nonprofit organization, the National Democratic Institute for International Affairs, confirms that gender has a noticeable effect on policy making and the setting of policy priorities. The data shows that women tend to prioritize education, health, and other developmental indicators that have an impact on the quality of life. It shows that women are also more likely to view governance as a means of serving underrepresented groups and are perceived as being more sensitive to community concerns and constituency needs. The data also shows that women are viewed as more likely to work across party lines than men are.
Her Excellency stressed the need for a women's caucus.
Women need to unite, if only to fight for themselves. We ought not to be leaving entirely to men the fight for our equal treatment. To the credit of the majority of our male counterparts, men have made significant strides in supporting our participation in parliamentary work. But ultimately, it is women who need to also take up the battle in defense of women.
Stay tuned for further parliamentary updates. For more information, visit our website at www.ttparliament.org and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram.
Parliamentary updates.